So should a website redesign be something that firms think about in terms of something that could help move the needle on performance?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think website redesigns are sometimes thought of as vehicles to something else and not really like a thing that improves performance on their own. So
A thing you just have to do.
yeah, it's just like, oh, it's old or it doesn't look good or something like that. Like most people that we talk to aren't thinking about, oh, I have this metric. Like I get X number of phone calls from my site per day. They're not thinking that if I just redesign my site to be more user friendly or have, different content or things like that, that I'll actually have X times 2 contacts from the site. Like they think that they absolutely are going to have extra marketing efforts on the back end of it. And sometimes that's just not true. Sometimes your problem isn't the peripheral marketing around the site. It's just the site itself. It's just like clunky or stale or, whatever that might be. But I think
Hard to navigate.
Right. Yeah. Just frustrating. Or maybe it loads too slow. Maybe you're just like, people are on their phone and it doesn't show up. There are a lot of...
We all do that. We give it the one refresh try and then we're like, forget it.
Yeah. And who knows? Like maybe that was like a $10,000 case that you're just like, slow. But I think the thing I don't think people should overlook when they're thinking about the website redesign process is, one, don't jump the gun to what's happening next. But two, like, don't jump the gun from what you should have done before thinking about the website redesign. Like, thinking about your brand is the first step there. Like if you're saying, oh, I want my website to look different, like great, pause, back up a minute and say, what can we do to better communicate who we are through this process, through this website redesign? And then because that alone is going to help you identify, like help you target your clients better, all the things that we always talk about from like a brand and targeting perspective. So
and a redesign is a great time to revisit those things.
Right. Yeah, because all the same work is really going to happen. You're just bolting on this branding component. And I think that most people would find that if you have an effective, like a well-planned website redesign, you're going to get more click-throughs to different pages. People are going to spend more time on your pages. People are going to have a higher contact rate from your site. And those are things that, for most sites, it's a one-time cost. It's not like you're having to pay for SEO or ads or other tactics forever.
Yeah.
So yeah, sometimes it's just the redesign is what's needed, not the whole bucket of everything.
Speaking of cost, should a redesign be comparable to a custom site build? Or how should, in terms of what we do, how should firms be thinking about that in terms of cost? And is it a classic? It depends.
Yeah, I mean, everything is, right? But that's like law firms too. Like, what's different about this case versus that? I think, but we can put it into big buckets, So if we look at a website and the architecture of the site is strong, like the pages are there that need to be there, and they're relatively easy to follow, and it just needs like a reskin, so to speak. That's a pretty light task. I mean, you're doing the branding and you're doing design, but oftentimes that's not what's needed. Oftentimes what's needed is, we look at a site and we go, oh, there have been 3 other businesses, agencies that have worked on that, and it's a kind of a mess.
Yeah.
And we're really, like, I use the car analogy a lot with our clients. Like sometimes instead of like taking the entire car apart and trying to put it back together, you're better off just getting a whole new car and like explaining what you really want. And I would say 50% of the time that's what happens, because by the time we audit and understand what should have been done with the old site, we're at the same level of work that we'd be for a new site. So it really depends.